Well, the Jets rolled over the Patriots last night, covering as a 6.5-point favorite. My best bet does cash. Small flex on a Friday. It was the first time a favorite of 6 or more points has covered all season. They were 0-8 against the spread heading into that game. Now, Aaron Rodgers threw for 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, and his MVP odds moved from 25-1 to 16-1 at ESPN BET. The Jets are still plus 175 to win the AFC East, and the Bills are minus 145.
Here's an NFL Week 3 trend you're going to hear quite a bit about over the next few days. Since 2016, teams that are 0-2, both straight up and against the spread, facing a non-0-2 opponent, highly profitable, 22-9-1 against the number in Week 3. That's a hit rate of 71%. Teams that fit the trend in Week 3 include the Giants, Panthers, Rams, Ravens, and Titans.
All right, you two, let's start the show in the college ranks where Oklahoma playing its first ever SEC game hosting, I give it a 10, USC Volunteers. It's also the biggest home dog roll for the Sooners this century. They're a 7-point dog in Norman. Which is where, Joe Fortenbaugh, we find our good friend Stanford Steve looking sharp down in Oklahoma, my friend.
What an honor. What an honor.
An honor indeed to have him as we do every Friday. We'll talk to him again on tomorrow morning's show, but let's talk about this huge SEC matchup, Steve. What do you make of the Vols rolling into town as such a large road favorite?
Starts with Nico Iamaleava and what that offense brings to the table, guys. They have not faced any kind of adversity through this season. Now, it's credit to them because of how good they are. But the balance of the run game and the pass game has made them so hard to defend. The accuracy of Nico inside the hashes this year, 81% completion percentage. That's astounding to me for a kid that's this young. So how does Oklahoma counterpart that? They have to be able to play the run and shut down the run game with minimal guys in the box. They have a fantastic defense. They lead the FBS in turnover ratio at 10 turnovers created already this year. That's the matchup. Oklahoma's offense is going to struggle early on, mismatching about the offensive line. That defense has to come to play and create big plays in order for its fan base to stay alive in what should be an awesome atmosphere.
My, what a difference a month makes. You go back to middle August, and the look-ahead line for this game was Oklahoma minus 4.5. Yeah. It's now Tennessee minus 7. That's an 11.5-point move. Now, granted, there should be an adjustment to that. Tennessee has outperformed the preseason expectation to date, and Oklahoma is dealing with a couple injuries here and there, although they are getting healthier at wide receiver coming into this game. I'd look to the Sooners here plus the points. When it hit 7.5, we saw sharp money, and we have seen some offshores flirting with 6.5. So it feels like some others could be jumping in to play the Sooners plus the 7 here. Again, first road start for Nico Iamaleava.
Well done.
Thank you very much. I'm just following in the big man's footsteps. You take that into account, the NC State game for Tennessee. Did NC State really test this Tennessee defense? You're going to have to hold your nose for this one because it's going to be a tough 60 minutes to cover the 7 here, but I like Oklahoma.
All right, that's one matchup that we'll have our eye on. Another where, again, preseason conceptions have changed mightily. USC visiting Michigan. That line has come down now to the Trojans laying 4. Steve, where do you stand?
I'll steal this from Joe. We talked about it earlier in the week. USC was an 8.5-point underdog in the look-ahead lines before the season. And now you just say they're only given 4. That thing got up to 5.5. And I thought it was going to get to a touchdown, knowing that how much love that USC has gotten because of how they looked against LSU and Utah State. But when you look at this matchup, Michigan has to pride themselves on their defense. Again, just like a home team in Oklahoma here in Norman, their defense has to come to play. It's Miller Moss's first true road start. Michigan has NFL talent. They've gotten behind against Texas. The pass game is hurt. They haven't been great against the pass. They have to make USC one-dimensional. Keep that crowd involved. Orgy in the offense will get that run game going. They will not try to attempt to throw the ball a lot. As scary as it sounds and how bad Michigan has looked, I do lean Michigan here, plus the points.
I've seen this story before. You go back a few weeks, it was Texas money to pump it up, and then all of a sudden, here comes the buyback on Michigan. Texas blows them out of the water. Similar situation here. USC got as high as minus 6.5, and now it's been nothing but Michigan money, bringing it down to 4. What am I to believe? I think you got to take any thoughts you have of this Michigan team from last year and throw them out. This is a different team. They want to run, they want to play defense. That's what last year's team wanted to do. Last year's team was actually good at it, though. When you fall behind with that type of strategy, it is impossible to come back. Look at the Texas game. Fell behind in the second quarter. They were never in it. USC has had 2 weeks to get ready for this game. Miller Moss looked very comfortable in a relatively hostile environment in Vegas against LSU. The USC defense played very well in that game. They stopped the run, or at least limit the run. You're going to have big problems for Michigan trying to get back in this game. And by the way, the move to Alex Orji, it's not because he won the job. It's because the other guy lost it. There's a difference when you make that quarterback switch.
All right, back to college football now. A huge matchup tomorrow, not just for Joe Fortenbaugh, but for early season control in the Big 12. Conference newcomer Utah hopes to have QB Cam Rising back on the field when they travel to Stillwater, Oklahoma, to take on the Cowpokes of Oklahoma State. Also in Oklahoma, just a different campus, Norman, Oklahoma. It's the big man, Stanford Steve. I want to start with you here, Joe. This summer has seen some crazy movement, so walk us through it.
Yeah, hold on. Are they cheering for you? Was that cheering in the background?
No.
I was going to say, I thought they had a higher standard out there. Job well. See, there it is. Messing with me. All right, I got to get focused. Come on, football, lock in.
It's not me.
All right, so Utah and Oklahoma State, I have no idea how you go about betting the side in this game. The point spread has been all over the place due to the status of Utah quarterback Cam Rising. So it opens Oklahoma State -3. We immediately, not immediately, maybe a couple days later, we start to see money on Utah. It drifts all the way to Utah -2. And then I think it's Thursday, it flies all the way back to Okie State -2, giving you the impression that Rising may not play. And then here on Friday, it's a pick'em. Steve, I have no idea what to do here. I want to lean into the triple-digit heat. I think it could wear down the defense. I think the over could be a play. As for the side, I'm lost here.
I think they need Cam Rising to win the football game. I don't think they could go to Stillwater without him and not win the game. Thamel had an update. He's a true game time decision. So there you have it. I believe he's going to try and give it a go. He practiced some. He got stitches out of his finger. But I look at the other side. I know what I'm getting with Oklahoma State, right? Ollie Gordon has struggled, but that's because the offensive line has faced a lot more teams playing, more guys in the box. And what it's done is opened up things for Bowman in the pass game, which has been really good. He's been really accurate in the deep ball. They made the most of Arkansas's missed opportunities in that comeback win. Then in a tricky spot, they go to Tulsa, who I don't know why you would ever take Tulsa in that game, but some people did, and Oklahoma State laid it on them. I think it's a great home field advantage. Utah's first taste of the Big 12. I like the Pokes in this matchup.
Such a wildly unnecessary comment about the Tulsa pick. Just completely unnecessary.
And by the way, Joe, I know he's trying to be modest there, but those people cheering probably saw Stanford Steve in last week's Joe versus Steve challenge. They're probably just tailing him, so that's what the cheers are for. You guys will get to that on tomorrow's show, by the way.
Those people probably heard that he's going to be off the set in 5 minutes, and now they can go about their lives.
All right, let's talk about underdogs, because everyone likes a dog, especially when you can make some money on one and an outright upset. Steve, give us one dog you like on the money line this weekend.
I'm only going to look at the ones that are double digits right around there. I think it's dropped a little bit. Navy made an ugly game last year against Memphis. Now you got Memphis coming off that big win against Florida State. Navy is a way better football team this year than they were last year. You know the problems they caused with that offense. Their defense has been better. Navy is a scary, scary underdog, and I like them to win that game.
I like that. I like that in the first half, too. That number plummeted. It was like -13. It dropped all the way to -9.
Yeah.
Solid pick. I'm going a lot smaller, so I wish I would have gone first so I didn't have to follow something like that up. I'll take Rutgers at Virginia Tech. I think it's a great spot for the Scarlet Knights. You have a situation where Rutgers is coming off the bye. Greg Schiano, in his career as a head coach, coming off a bye, 17-8-1 against the spread, 68%. Kyle Monangai, who you're seeing right there, fantastic as a running back this year, should be getting some Heisman buzz. Not a lot yet. It will be coming. Potential look-ahead spot here for Virginia Tech. Friday night, they're going to be in Miami to take on the Hurricanes, who are currently undefeated. The running game of Rutgers against the Virginia Tech run defense is problematic. I like Rutgers in the upset.
All right, big fella, thanks for joining us this evening on ESPN Bet Live. We'll see you again on tomorrow morning's show for the aforementioned latest edition of the Steve versus Joe Challenge. Someone had a good week last week, by the way.
Yeah, and really keep an eye on Joe. He really went out on a limb on that underdog pick.
All right, back to college football we go, and time to build for you, my friends, your all-day college football parlay. Here are some of the notable games in the early slate tomorrow. Ohio State, a massive favorite over Marshall in their final non-conference tune-up. Clemson laying 18.5 against NC State. Florida up to a touchdown favorite in Starkville, with Billy Napier firmly on the hot seat. Joe, you're covering the early window for us, so what's your play?
It will be none of those marquee games. We're going down south. Louisiana plus 1.5 against Tulane. Little in-state rivalry there. Red alert game of the week. Tulane was a 3.5-point favorite. Bet all the way through the key number down to 1.5. Why? Two reasons. You got Louisiana coming off the bye, playing at home, good football team. More importantly, when you look at Tulane, the last 2 weeks, they've done business against Oklahoma and Kansas State, and they hung tight in both those games. The problem, coming off 2 games like that where you hung tight, you could be real flat here after those physical, emotional encounters. Louisiana is going to be the play for me.
All right, let's head to the afternoon slate, continuing to build our parlay, which you're going to have all day to watch. USC, Michigan, top 25 matchup with SC, a road favorite. We also have another top 25 matchup at 4 p.m., Utah and Oklahoma State. Utah once again favored as that line has flip-flopped all week. Aaron, you're in charge of midday.
You were going to go USC, Michigan, first half under 21.5. Now, I know this has come down from 23.5, so I'm getting a little burnt on the number here, but nonetheless, I do think both these teams are going to start off slow. We know for USC, they are coming off a bye week, but as for Michigan, that defense is really good. They're allowing 2.7 yards per rush so far this season. They should also be due for some positive regression in terms of the pressure rate, but for USC's defense, they're holding opponents to just 10 points through the first couple of games, and it's easy, or it's early, I should say, but USC's defense has the Trojans allowing 306 yards per game. They've only missed 4% of tackles, so I think this comes down to defense slow in the first half, so we'll go under.
All right, 2 legs covered. Let's head to the late slate where Heisman favorite Cam Ward and the Miami Hurricanes are on the road at South Florida, Oklahoma. A touchdown dog, as we told you, at home for the first time this century against the Tennessee Volunteers. And at 10:30, 2 unbeaten Big 12 squadrons square off as BYU hosts K-State. I'm going to stay up late here in the East and take BYU as a 7-point home dog. Cougars have covered all 3 games this season by an average of 12 points. Is K-State a bit overvalued after crushing Arizona at home? Perhaps. Jake Retzlaff playing just as well as young Avery Johnson, the Wildcats QB. I think he can match him point for point. As long as he keeps it within a touchdown, that's all I really care about. BYU plus 7 is the play. So if you like our picks, you can get this ESPN Bet Live exclusive all-day college football parlay. Louisiana plus the points. First half under at the Big House, and BYU plus 7.5 boosted to plus 625. Yeah, we're even giving you the hook with the Cougs.
How much